And go.
There we are. Welcome everybody to another session of the Night Thorns. We are back. Sad to say, our YouTube has not been updated because I am a lazy bastard. But we'll have last week's episode up sometime this evening. Not going to spend any more time fapping about. We are just going to go straight to our boys and girls and the recap of last session. So take it away, Marzowicki.
Last time we fought a hag and some giants and some eels and some crabs and some harpies, and we have lots of well-cooked crab thanks to Preacher. The hag ran away because she didn't want to get pounded by Preacher. Fair. And we fought the giants a little longer than we needed to because I wasn't paying attention. And that's about it. Pass it off to Zara.
I wasn't here, so pass it on to Mador.
Oh.
Yeah. I popped back in and Zara disappeared. By my recollection, they said I was only gone about 30 minutes, but I've been gone for about a week. Armor dinged up. Special gauntlet on my hand now. We were getting ready to see what was going on the outside, where our Stream Marisol made a speech, and the kind of fighting stopped. I did see Cal, blue eyes, with a flaming bastard sword, I believe, and her undead kind of. She saluted me and kind of disappeared into the lake. We have a lot of orcs with us now that decided to join us. I did a little simple thing. I dropped the clan dagger into the lake that I've been carrying since the death of Cal. Then we got a raven came in, I believe, in the morning. With we were needed. They needed the unit, the combat unit out of Black Abbey to help with a possible attack that's coming, where they do not know what has happened to the Black Abbey yet. So we headed out post haste. I did give Marisol a new toy that the Dwarfs were using. I was in Rakathum fighting with the Dwarfs, trying to find the lost king with a mercenary group of actually not a mercenary group, a standing army group with a lion's head as their symbol, with a huge ogre, Marshal Belly Tumbler commanding them. I was eating a nice dinner when I popped back in. But we headed out, and for some reason they loathe to ambush us or try to ambush us at bridges. So we had, at first, were 4 hill giants and what we thought was a blood hag. As we proceeded in through, crabs came out of the water, giant eels, harpies. We finally defeated a couple of the hill giants. 2 hill giants was going to stop fighting, but someone hit them, and they continued fighting. But then they finally walked off into the river as a kind of a truce between us. The Blug had ripped the skin off her and ascended as I believe it was a fiery light or something like that. So I don't know if it was actually a blood hag now. Otherwise, head over to Marisol.
Yeah. So I got new funny things. 2 dwarven guns I am trying to figure out. That's cool. Estrella was the one to tell the rousing speech. I was just there. Our old friend Albertine ascended to the heavens. So we're not really sure what happened there. And then we were almost dead, all of us, because saves were not something we could do last time. Except Preacher. Preacher was fine, so he can continue.
Well, Preacher did take 1 or 2 rocks to the head and a pincer from a crab. But other than that, kind of fine. A little bit dismayed at the fact that the hag chose to run when she was grabbed by me. She didn't like me at all for some reason. I just wanted to give her a hug. And perhaps a good beating. But nevertheless, she vamoosed up into the air, so she's probably going to return at some later unknown date. Well, the only thing other than that, Estrella, which is currently not here, did her usual stealthy rolls and did not succeed so well. So she was running around on the flank, basically trying not to get stomped to bits until we managed to jump the river and come to raid. The hill giants ran for it, however, so I'm not happy about that. I was looking forward to wrestling a giant. Damn it. Next time. Well, who's left to go? Yuri.
Yeah, we came up and we were scouting around looking at the battle, and Cal went down into the frozen lake. The shadowy burning figure that was pointing an arrow at Marisol that Iodi kind of spooked away was kind of an interesting thing. I couldn't follow the tracks. Most people couldn't even see the tracks. So we don't really know where our friend or ghost friend or... Oh, we don't know what it is, right? Went. And then with the big fight with all the giants, and our friend Estrella tried to do rogue things again and nearly ended up on her 3rd character, I imagine. But it was a pretty fun fight. It was a cool session. And I'll just send it on to Shago then.
Thank you. So yes, you had yourself a bit of a fight, and you were heading you were heading down to the fort. Which name I haven't noted down. Dang it! I gotta pull up a map of that. Definitely not Camp Refugi, but
Fort Fallacy.
Fort Felice. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's it.
Fort Fallaces. It's a completely different thing. So yeah, that's what you guys were doing. You crossed the river. You had yourselves a bit of a fight. Estrella has taken Magnus and her orc scouts, and kind of trying to be outriders for you all, to keep you from going into too many ambushes. You haven't been in an ambush for 2 days, so you're fairly certain it's working. So we will start you up in your camp on the evening after 2 days of travel. You've basically about 1 day away from Fort Felice. You'll hit it sometime during noon tomorrow, you expect. The sun is just setting. It's a fairly pleasant day. It's not warm enough that you're in short sleeves yet in the evening, but it's just moments before. So expect within the week you'll start being too warm instead of being too cold while traveling. The last 2 days have been exceptionally boring as well, mostly just traveling through flat countryside with with fields of wheat or barley, pretty much as far as the eye can see, dotted with just small, not even hamlets or villages, just family farms. Probably about every hour of travel, tending to their parts of the fields. And that's where you find yourselves. You did pass the village of Almela, but yeah, having seen it, you decided you were probably going to have a more fun time eating your own food and drinking whatever you brought with you than trying to fit into the local tavern, which seemed like it was made for maybe 4 people.
So Iodi finishes up a batch of potions today. He's gonna shuffle about and distribute them. I'll go give one to Preacher first.
Thank you. Have you made any progress with the clothes, the wraps, and the weird cloth thing? What do you call it? Robes.
Iodi is still trying to decipher whether this is dangerous or not. You place these potions into your pocket, and Iodi will let you know when he has finished with that.
Excellent.
And that's 2 more minor life potions. And then I will
Thank
take
you.
one to Marisol.
I would have spent the last 2 days healing everyone to full as well.
Right. Well, we'll see what Iodi does, and we'll just do the round around everybody. So, Mr. Iodi.
Then I'll be tugging on
Marisol.
Marisol's sleeve.
Master Iodi, what can I do for you?
Iodi noticed that you drank a potion in the last battle that we had, so I will replace it with this.
Thank you.
Yes, that is what Iodi does. And then I will shuffle back and I will continue my research. But
I'm
Can I
gonna flip
do-
you a coin as thank you.
yeah, I'll take the coin for sure. Can I do a perception? Because I will be keeping an eye out for shadowy burning figures, etc.
Give us. Are you doing it with the help of magic or without?
I'll definitely do magic.
In that case, you can actually give me an Arcana. You've got a feeling that at times you're being watched with magic, like somebody's using scrying spells. Nothing is active currently, but you're fairly certain that within the last 6 hours, somebody has spied on you with some sort of scrying spell, but the trace is too faint for you to. The trace is too faint for you to actually identify which scrying spell it was.
Okay. Iodi is keeping an eye out, but he's pretending like he's not following Marisol around and keeping her safe.
Right. Marisol, you can give me a perception versus Iodi's deception to see if you notice that he's trying to keep your or guard your back. Yeah, Marisol definitely notices that Iodi's kind of placing himself so that he's keeping watch on her while he's doing things.
I am way too polite to say anything, and I'm just really thankful.
Excellent. Anything else Iodi is doing?
Nope, that's it for me.
Right. Then we'll pass it over to see you. What's Mador doing?
Well, taking off the gauntlet, rewinding it, kind of looking at my missing fingers, like still trying to figure out how it happened. In the heat of the battle, can't quite remember everything, and just kind of relaxing a little bit before I take the night walk.
Okay. So if anybody wants to do any scenes with Mandor, now's the time. If not, we're gonna move it on. I know one person does, but they're not here today. Very well. So Mandor said, just walking around. Yeah, you don't have a large company with you currently. It's basically the party. You have Herko and preacher's acolyte, the young monk that's been following him. So speaking of preacher, let's head over to the man and see what he's doing.
Well, that you just mentioned Ebert, I was actually wondering how he was faring. So I will have a small chat with him now. Ebert, I
Yes,
noticed
Sensei.
that you actually did not choose to stay at the Abbey. So what are your plans currently?
Well, Master Preacher, as long as I'm allowed to follow and learn from you, that is what I would do. The Abbey, it fell. Much as I would like to say that this was because the undead were overwhelming. I believe if I am to go back and restore it to greatness, well, I would have to learn your ways before going back. The way you summon flame, for example, is something I've never seen anyone else do. I think it is a lost art in our time. If you would be my master, I would serve you faithfully until you feel that I have learned the art properly.
Yeah, you're welcome to continue along with us, but do keep in mind that the morals of this company is a mercenary company, but we do try and do good. So we're not paladins as such. We're not here to do holy work, but we might end up doing it.
Well, Master Preacher, in this case, I will stick to the words of my old master Tremaine, who said that as long as well is done, it does not matter what the intention or the motivation is. It will still plant itself throughout the world, and while this company's motivations might not be as pure as I would wish to see, the good it does is very tangible.
We have not, and I don't think we ever will, take a mission for the common conception of evil as such. We don't really wish to prey upon the weak, and we will certainly not do so if I have any say of it. So we have chosen to fight bandits and, well, dark stuff, such as the undead. And I think that we will keep doing it.
And it is my honor to be allowed to join. Be allowed to learn from you, see what your company does, how your good transplants itself into the world. It is interesting.
Well, in that case, I will happily have you along, but we will need to spend some time practicing. There is a lot of things that I have started to remember again, so we shall certainly have our sessions.
It would be an honor to have the sessions with you, my master.
Let's begin. I think I need a little bit of training time now before we start the evening's pleasantries. And I lead Ebert off to one side, and we start doing simple product trainings and just repetitive stuff.
Right. And then you can toss the ball on to somebody.
I'm going to say the master of cooking. Wow. Okay.
All right. I will have spent the last 2 days making sure that everyone is healed up and topped off, because several got beat up heavily. And right now I am cooking up many, many, many buttery, awesome crab cakes because we had leftovers.
So you're basically standing by the fire cooking crab cakes. And as always, if anybody wants not as always, it's something we very recently started to do, but if anybody has a scene they want to play with him, now's the time.
Tumult?
Yes, ma'am.
I noticed that you are an excellent cook. I was thinking if you need some more ingredients, I have this bag here. I'm not really sure how it works yet, but if you say these words, it produces food. And not always the greatest food, but definitely nutritious. So if you can make something even more edible out of whatever's in it, then that would be fun.
I will look at the bag and see what comes out.
I'm going to give you the magic word.
Which I didn't hear, but
It's Essen,
Essen.
as in eat in German.
Ah. I will say the word and look in the bag. Reach in or whatnot.
And out you get a beautiful pork chop with some boiled, pickled red cabbage, and what seems to be a sort of onion and mustard sauce.
Ooh. I can work with this. And I'll see how much of that I can get out and make some pulled pork smash burgers.
Awesome. I'm going to leave it with you for now then. I would like it back at the end of the night in case you disappear again, because this has saved my life on a few occasions, but still. Please.
Why, of course, Marisol. And I'm just going to town on cooking some goodies.
Well, it's good to know what you're doing. Speaking of Marisol, we'll take it over to her.
So, I'll have gone over to a clearing a bit away from the others, not to risk shooting them, simply, and try an experience with my new guns. Soon figuring out that my pistol is actually two-handed now, so or it will break my wrist. That's kind of important to know, and just train, test them out, train with them, noticing that they produce their own ammunition, stuff like that.
Yeah, you might want to give a little description to the party and the viewers of what your weapons look like.
So it's a rifle and a hand cannon of obvious dwarven make. It's solid and sturdy and definitely don't have the range of the other weapons I use, but they are much more sturdy and will shatter things I before could just shoot at and make a small dent in, but now I will shatter it with these. What did you say? Were they square?
Square rounds, indeed, with
Yeah.
grooves cut into them to make them a bit aerodynamic.
And you also notice that I will shoot faster with them because I can actually shoot 4 times before I have to reload. And that's really cool. And the noise is incredible. So after a few rounds, I'm just going to move a bit further into the forest to be out your here with that one.
Very well. Let's see, who hasn't gone yet? Edamir. What is Edamir doing?
Roran and I are just running around the camp, doing like circles, blowing off energy, and making sure that everything's on the up and up around just basically around the camp, smelling around, making a ruckus.
Right. Give us a little perception check, sir. Oop. You see some movement over maybe 300 feet from you, where no human eyes would see anything in the darkness. That's quickly coming down. It looks like somebody maybe foot and a half tall, sitting up in a tree branch, but you only kind of catch them disappearing in the side of your vision. Where they obviously started moving the moment your head started moving towards them.
Interesting. It was Mador that was standing watch, right?
Yeah, Mador's, well, not so much standing watch as kind of doing a patrol around the site, because he wouldn't be able to watch the whole camp standing in one spot without having his back to it. But yeah, he's out in the darkness. You can see whatever this was. It's obviously making certain it's counterclockwise to him, being on the other side of the map whenever Mador turns around.
I'm gonna go up to Mador and be like, "There's a little man up in the trees watching us."
What direction?
Always the opposite of you. I don't know if he knows that we know that he's there.
Is it dark enough for the dark vision to go in effect, or still?
It is. It is very, very quickly going that way. You just have a tiny sliver of sun over the horizon right now, because it's very flat where you are. And the moment that disappears, it's gonna be very dark. You don't have a lot of trees. It's not like there's a forest. There's a tree here and there. Mostly farmers having like 4 or 5 apple trees or plums or whatever, but nothing forest-like at all. It's pretty much flat around you. But the main issue you're finding guarding this camp is that you're on a small clearing on the side of the road, obviously made for camps, and yeah, about 30 feet from you, you hit a very high stalks of wheat, and you won't be able to see. You have no idea if anybody's 2 feet into those.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of casually glance in the direction that opposite where I'm looking.
Right. Give us a perception, sir. You see a branch kind of just barely moving, as if a small bird had just taken off from it, and maybe the hint of a heel, but you can't really get a good look of what's there.
Interesting. I'm gonna kind of casually switch to the crossbow, just to be on the safe side.
Right.
And I'm gonna go to whatever side that's opposite of him and try to like sneak. And then I'm gonna. Yep.
Before you go mention it to Marisol and the rest. He says, Zara come back yet?
No, I haven't. And I think Marisol's out training.
Yeah,
Just what all those booms are.
Just kind of, casually, drop it. And the rest of the party, just in case we get ambushed, and just to know we are being watched.
I'm going to Tiny Fox form, try to find everybody, and let them know to be on their guard, but don't make it too obvious.
Yeah, you've gotten into Tiny Fox form when you can hear Tumult go like, "What the?" As he's being very quickly pulled up towards a round magical glyph about 9 feet across in the air. But before he's pulled out, a torrent of sand flows through it, and a figure that lands in a heap, burying Tumult in sand, and you can just about see a wide-brimmed hat sticking out of the sand, with a blue face under it.
During my walking, I'm gonna every now and then do a casual glance behind me.
Yeah, you turn just in time to kind of see Sarah pop out of the portal that was trying to suck up Tumult and bury him in an avalanche of sand.
Well, they'll look like he was in the mountains.
There's a small wave of very warm air that kind of woof, spreads out from where the portal opened, and then Sarah starts coughing.
I want to try something too, since I do have a good arcana, myself being brought up by a wizard.
Yeah.
I want to try an arcana every now and then too.
Try that arcana, sir. Feel free. You're pretty certain that was a fairly powerful summoning spell that would summon. Somebody was trying to summon a champion. Usually, you're aware that usually those are summoned from, another plane, not from within your own. But as you started noticing recently, something's very, very weird when it comes to summoning.
I take it it's almost kind of something like what happened with me then.
Yep, pretty much.
I'll continue my rounds, and every now and then, casually take a glance opposite what I'm doing. Crossbow at the ready, of course.
Yeah. Over to Zara.
Whatever the gods are up to, they need to get it sorted out. This is some shenaniganry. Why a desert of all places? Zara's gonna climb out of the pile and prestidigitate all of the sand out of her clothing.
Yeah. She does notice that she's sitting on something moving and furry, and cursing.
Oh, hello, Tumult.
Dusting myself off and casting Prestidigitate on myself as well. Followed shortly thereafter by Prestidigitate on the food to remove all the sand.
Yeah, that food would not have been very pleasant right now.
Ooh, crab cakes. Zara eats a crab cake.
They are slightly spicy, but delicious.
So what did I miss?
Some hag attacked us. We killed some harpies, some crab, obviously. Fought some giants. Magnus has gone off with the young stealthy lady, and they're scouting ahead, and we're here having dinner. And headed to some town that I've never heard of, in a place that I've never heard of, to stop some more people attacking.
So I
That's
didn't
good.
really miss anything worth missing.
No, not really. The scary lady with the boomsticks knows where we're going. I'm just kind of along for the ride because none of this is familiar or the same continent.
Have I overheard this?
I'm going to say yes, you probably have.
I'm gonna interject. The scary lady with the boomstick also didn't negotiate a price for us to come here. Welcome back, Zara.
We'll just negotiate the price when we get there. It's fine.
Ah, okay.
It's not like there was anyone at the Abbey to negotiate with. Unless you got a seance board or whatever.
Wait. Y'all are getting paid?
I only do this if we get paid.
Remind me to talk to the scary lady with the boomsticks.
Is our money even good from where you come from?
I don't
Who
know,
doesn't like
but I
gold?
also don't know when I'm leaving.
Well, you're used to coins being square, but gold is pretty much gold anywhere you found when you travel. Although how much one gold coin is worth varies a lot from nation to nation. And some of them they're paper thin, and in others they're pretty thick. And one gold coin might be equal 10 gold coins somewhere else. Prices, sadly, also tend to vary in the same way. So the amount of gold you have is usually more or less constant.
Fun. See if I can trade for a few. Ada likes strange coinage.
But yeah, that's pretty much what you all have been up to. So, anybody got any scenes they want to play? Now's the time.
I just want to find Herco and make sure that he knows that, his girl's back.
Oh yeah, Herco's over by a pond, lifting, or not a pond, but over by a drinking trough, lifting the heaviest rocks he can find.
Have you worked on your jumping? I know lifting is king, but you felt a couple jumps.
Yes, tiny fox friend, I have worked on jumps. I will not dishonor Master Yodi again.
Just make sure, because your girl's back, so she'll be watching.
The blue lady. Ah, it is a good thing I have good pump. And he flexes a bicep where the veins are really popping. Ah, it's getting a bit warm, isn't it? And then he takes off the armor on the upper body, continues to lift the heaviest rocks he can find while casting glances at Zara.
Keep it up, buddy.
One day, when we meet Artichoke Monster, I shall give her heart of it.
Then can I do a nature check to see if whatever was in the trees, if it's like a mad monkey or something?
Feel free if you want to go over there and have a look. Yeah, it's very easy for you in fox form to skitter up into the tree. Having a look at it, you can't find any of the find any signs of it having been any sort of monkey. If you travel a couple of not a couple of, maybe something like 8 to 10 weeks southwest, you'd get into jungles where monkeys are actually indigenous. But in this area, any monkey here would find itself very out of place. You do, however, notice two small, not quite footprints, but footprint shaped, where you can see that the buds on the flowering apple tree have pulled in, as if it's they've been exposed to cold.
Then my last thing is I'm gonna go a few feet away from this tree, and I'm gonna cast Tree Shape.
Okay. Interesting. Takes over half an hour standing as a tree, just kind of watching the other people in your party moving about, getting a feeling that the apple trees are annoyed that you've suddenly showed up and you're going to be taking their sun and water. But you can see suddenly somebody spying on the party. It's a very small creature, maybe a foot and a half. It looks like it might have been a gnome or a halfling at some point, but now it's shriveled. Looks like it might have been mummified. It's roughly 90 feet from you now, sitting in another apple tree. Just kind of observing the party.
I will just sit here. I can maintain this form for 8 hours, so
yeah,
sit here a while longer.
Yeah, you can see this creature is very, very adept at staying hidden. Its small size also helping it to just hide behind the boughs or the trees themselves without having to move. At one point, it manages to evade detection from a Preacher just by hiding behind a particularly thick cluster of apples. As you watch it, you can see that both the apples and wherever it moves, there's no real damage from frost, but the plants react as if it was a really cold night, with drawing flowering flowers and shriveling.
If it gets within 30 feet of me, I'm gonna drop Tree Shape and set and bolt it.
Right. Let's have ourselves a little look here. It starts getting closer, and you can see it kind of gathering its strength for a leap before suddenly something. You have no idea what it notices, but instead of leaping onto what would be you, it jumps down into the high stalks of wheat and barley and disappears.
Darn it, I almost had him. Then I'm gonna go back to, or I'm gonna untree shape.
Yeah. Just before you manage to untree shape, you can hear somebody going, "Ah!" And Ebert, upside down, slams into you and slides down after having done a particularly bad job in his training with Preacher and getting yeeted probably 20 feet.
You okay there, Ebert?
It's fine, Master. This tree took most of it.
I will stay in this tree shape.
Ebert gets up, coughs, spits out some dirt, and you can hear him mumbling like, "Oh well, it's better than being thrown into a stone wall at least." Before somewhat sorely walking back to Preacher to keep getting his ass kicked. And Preacher, you've started noticing that whatever style they taught at the Black Abbey was obviously maybe had a bit too much focus on fighting armored people with long range kicks and trying to stay at range. Once you get up close, Ebert's got very few answers for the style that you have been taught.
Well, Ebert, we need to work on your flexibility because not all of your enemies will be of one particular type.
Yes, Master.
We also need to master some other arts that you may not have. How are you in meditation and healing your own body?
Healing my own body, I've started learning. Meditation, I'm ashamed to admit, is one of my weaker points. I've always had quite the temper.
We need to work on that, especially because you may get hurt just training with me. I see that now.
Yes, Master. Yes, and he kind of spits out a piece of bark that he picked up slamming into that tree. I could get hurt or seriously injured at some point, but it is worth it to learn a style that nobody else except you knows.
Well, we shall see what we can achieve. This is enough for now. Let's prepare for evening meals.
Yes, Master. Yeah. The crab cakes indeed are a bit more spicy than usual, but absolutely delicious. Although eating with those little fiddly sticks like Temel does, it proves difficult for most of you. But yes, what's your watch gonna look like this evening?
I will definitely take the midnight to 2, 3, whatever our schedule watches are going to be.
I'm going to remain in tree shape for a couple hours watching.
I'll take the first watch to stop being so bruised before I go to bed.
I'll do the first watch with her because I'm still watching her back.
Yeah, I'll take over after the first watch since I only need 2 hours, and then stand the rest of the night.
Yeah. So give me some perception rolls, those of you on watch. Wow. Yeah. Iodi on the first watch with Marisol actually notices the same small man. You can see him on the opposite side of the clearing from where other beach is standing. Sitting in a branch, almost invisible, maybe 120 feet from you. You wouldn't have been able to spot him at all if you didn't have your detect magic as well. But you can see just the faintest outline of necromantic energy gathering in the small, long-nosed form of a tiny, shriveled gnome or halfling. And once you see the dark purple outline of necromantic energy, you manage to kind of zoom in on him, more or less camouflaged, or like a gecko blending in with the tree.
Does it feel like an evil presence?
Mm. Well, that's the sort of thing you'd really want Magnus around for, isn't it? But it's definitely a necromantic creature.
How far away is it?
120 feet.
Okay. Well then, Yodi draws a door-like outline in the air, and a dimension door right next to it.
Right. What's Marisol and and the Edamir who are awake gonna? How are you gonna react when Yodi suddenly summons a door and just kind of pops through it?
I am gonna pull my long range rifle and look for him through the scope.
Right. You can see Iodi stepping out of the door onto a thick branch right next to something. You can't really make out what it is, even through the scope when using your goggles, but it's small and humanoid shaped, at least. And Iodi standing next to it, it's kind of got its hands up.
I'm gonna just aim at it and wait for Yoda to give a sign that it's dangerous. I can't see it properly.
Right,
Yodi,
so
Yodi holds his
Hogany
hand
gonna
out.
do?
He just
Yep,
holds his
Yodi.
hand out towards it and looks at it and he says, "Identify yourself, creature."
Right. It's standing with its arms up, and I mean you no harm. I was sent by the handmaiden to keep an eye on you.
Who is your maiden?
I serve the ladies, the conclave, but my handmaiden is the general. The handmaiden of the lady.
More
The great
hags.
General Kalizir.
I know this name. What is Kalazir up to in her undead life?
Things moving that you in the living, you do not understand. It is not known to you what is going on. Kalizir, she's still in her heart of hearts, feels for those that she fought with. She wants you to not become entangled.
We do not appreciate being watched. Perhaps you should scamper away back to Kalazir. Tell her to mind her own affairs.
Yes, great dragon, I will go. You have my word.
Yes, because next time you may become very crunchy bits. Understood?
Firni understands. Firni will listen to you. I will go. If I come back, may the eyes of the deathless ladies turn me into mud.
Yes. And then I'll flap my little baby wings and jump out of this tree.
Right, kind of just gliding down. Once you look up, the creature has disappeared.
I'll go back towards Marisol where I was watching her.
Yeah.
I'll also head that way. I'll make like a tree and leaf over there.
It appears, Marisol, we are being watched by many things. Undead Kalazir is one of them.
Indeed. I'm gonna lower my rifle, but I'm not putting it back in my sleeve. I'm just keeping it next to me now.
Kalazir's watching us.
Yes, or her servants, as it appears.
Well, it seems in many ways that she doesn't want to succumb to any harm. Although she is undead now. I think we should let her rest. If we get a chance, you know.
Yodi
Well,
would be happy to help her rest if she gets in our path.
she wants to annoy us with her little creatures. I'll annoy her. And I cast Guiding Star, targeting Kalazir.
Mm-hmm. What's that spell do?
You call upon the constellations of the night sky to guide a creature to the location where you cast the spell. Each time the target views the stars, it receives a mental nudge towards your chosen location, though it
Oh.
isn't compelled to follow. The target can recognize you as the source. If the creature goes to another planet or plane, the spell effects are suppressed, but they resume if the creature returns. And it lasts one whole night. So every time she looks up at the stars, she gets a mental nudge that she should come over here. She isn't compelled to, do it, but it's annoying.
Yeah, and if she died before Edamir came into the party, she's probably going to be really confused as well. Like, what the fuck? Why's this little fox man want to talk to me? Right. The rest of the night goes by without any more confusion. None of you feel any other presences, although it is uncomfortable camping this close to the amount of wheat and barley standing several feet high and blocking lines of sight. And as the wind, there's a slight breeze, it starts kind of making just enough noise that you're not entirely convinced you could hear somebody try and sneak up on you over the racket either. But as the sun comes up, it is it's a beautiful morning actually. No, not a cloud in the sky, and looking like you're gonna be in the mid 90s when it comes to temperature.
Too hot.
Yeah, Mador's working with his various weapons. Herko seems to have joined him. It's interesting to see the difference in fighting style from the two. Mador very disciplined and regimented, and Herko with a combination of the orc ferocity and whatever skills he's learned as a mercenary working in human lands, trying to trip Mador up. And yeah, both watching the two of them fights a lesson in humility for somebody who hasn't dedicated their lives to mastering the use of various weapons. Ebert's up, standing on 1 foot on the watering trowel, eyes closed, kind of hands up in a meditative pose. Marisol sitting with her guns, oiling them, assembling them, disassembling them.
I am stirring the cauldron and keeping an eye out for any shadowy forms.
Well, yeah. Once it gets once the sun is up, it gets bright real fast. Because unless you're walking next to the stalks of wheat and barley, you don't really have any sort of shade or anything to keep the sun away. The two donkeys pulling your cart seem happy enough to move once it's time to head off down towards Fort Felice.
I will ride in the wagon again.
Right. Who was your
I'll-
wagon driver? Was that Sarah?
I'll be rear guard again.
Yeah.
Yep, Zara normally drives the wagon.
So all of you either being in a wagon or on horseback.
Riding Billy.
Yeah, you start actually catching up with them, passing by other smaller or larger, but nobody more than maybe 12 to 15 mercenary bands. The ones you pass on foot, mostly in lighter types of armor, lots of padded armor and gabmasons, lots of spears, axes, and well-used clubs that you can see, with mostly maybe their leaders or senior members in chain, various bits of chain or other metal armor parts, kind of slotted in or tacked on where it fits. Most of them seem envious of you as you go past in relative comfort. They seem hot, annoyed, sore-footed, and you can hear one of them mumbling like, I should never have left the Tolicus. At least we had mounts.
I still refute that name.
Towards lunchtime, you come up upon Fort Falaise. It's an older style fort. You can see with just a tower and a ring wall around it, but it's spread out with more barracks being added at later dates, and another square stone wall around it, guarding what seems to be both a border crossing and a large river that goes down past it. You can see a lot of people gathered up here. There's it's hard to put a proper number on it, but somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 of the soldiery of Nosans seem to have been gathered here. You can see footmen walking around in the infantrymen's plate armor, hundreds of those. Even more archers and engineers and cooks and blacksmiths and everything needed when an army moves out. In addition to knights with at least three different symbols on their shields and tabards and cloaks. As you come walking in, Sir Roland rides up, looks at Marisol. Ah, Captain Marisol, it is a pleasure to see that you have arrived safely.
It was a fairly nice trip.
Tell me, did you have any unpleasantness on the way?
We met some giants and a hag, but that was it.
Disconcerting. Many of the mercenary companies, the smaller ones, have reported taking fairly heavy losses to ambushes from mostly undead, but in some cases giants and ogres and other things related to the hags as well. We ourselves were assailed by 3 manticores and a hag leading them. Sir Philippe lost his life defeating them. And many of the smaller, less, how could I say, elite mercenary bands, not hardened veterans like yourselves, haven't shown up at all. Currently we have maybe somewhere between 3,500 and 4,000 here, and we should have been almost 6,000.
Well, we came as soon as we could.
It's like y'all are expecting a war.
Well, if the nobles at Raven's Bridge send a raven to the Marquis and ask for help, they do have a standing house guard of nearly 1,000 themselves, with 40 full knights of the Raven Guard. We're going to take it seriously.
Of course. That's why we're here.
I'm gonna go up to Zara and be like, with this many people, I don't think that we're gonna get paid.
Question, you said this is being put on by the nobles, right? What's the pay like?
For you, the Marquis has heard rumors of your skill in battle and how valuable your specific skills could be for us. So he has authorized a payment of 14 gold coins per day per member of your company, in addition to a first-time payment of 500 gold coins and a second-time payment of twice that once the campaign is finished. But you would have to bind yourselves to the forces of the Marquis for 36 days, which is how long we expect this campaign to go, with the option of the Marquis renewing your contract for another 36 days, if needed.
Do we get to renegotiate on the second contract?
I'm certain I can pull some strings with the Marquis. He's the uncle of my cousin, after all. And I have myself seen your prowess in battle. With that said, we will put you together with 2 other proven veteran companies, the Order of the Bull and the Guiltless Guerrillas. And the 2 other mercenary captains. The Marquis plans on using you as his special task group, so to speak, for the sort of missions that we can't expect to send common footmen or less experienced mercenaries to do and get them back alive. Of course, for any special task sent out in that way, you will get to negotiate up to a 50% pay raise for the days when you are conducting high-risk operations.
That doesn't sound unreasonable to me.
Samador.
I would recommend you doing regular patrols along the river.
We have
They're undead. If it's undead that's going to hit, they don't need to breathe, so they can always actually come up via the river. And when they did depart the Black Abbey, they did go into the light.
Yes, that Samador is actually an excellent point, and he turns to one of his squires and make it happen. And the squire just salutes and rides off. Looks like he's maybe 14 years old, if a day, but for that age, surprisingly well built and in the lighter squire's plate, not the very heavy, more Baroque Gothic type plate of the full knights. If you please, the Marquis, he wishes to speak to you tomorrow. We expect to spend another 7 days here before we march. Both so that we can get set up, get the logistics train organized, moving 4,500 men. If we get that many, take some doing on short notice. We could, of course, forage, but It would be preferable to the Marquis that we do not empty the fields of food before the peasants even have the time to eat themselves.
Of course.
It will also give you some time to coordinate and train with the two companies that you are attached in the task group with.
And where do we find them?
If you follow my squire here, once our conversation is done, it is about 20 minutes from the main camp down the river. It is one of the better campsites. There is a minor lord slightly annoyed with me that you have been given it, but it is away from the main camp upstream, so that you won't have to deal with the filth of all of these soldiers washing and doing their business in the river. Although, as I myself am camped downstream, I would take it as a kindness if you put your latrine a bit away from the river.
Consider it done.
Suggestion, Cyril?
Master Preacher.
One of the more advantageous things I think would be if some of the men could be detailed to log a little bit and have the trees down by the shoreline. Just leave the branches in, so they will form a small barricade to anything coming up, as well as the wood is able to be used by the peasants later as payment for, well, wood for their services.
An excellent suggestion. We will have to see if the terrain agrees with you, as you are noticing there's not a lot of wood around here, but maybe we could do the same with earthwork ditches or something in that same vein of thought. It's an excellent idea. I will see if I can convince the Marquis to implement it for the army.
You better make sure that if you do cut any of those trees, you use all that.
If you could write up a suggestion that I could present to the Marquis. Sadly, as one of the Marshal's assistants, my day is quite full.
My suggestion is don't mess with the trees.
So I'm going to need a DC 20 lore warfare from Preacher. There we are. And camp security has gone up by 1.
I was going to say, could I assist with that?
You could have. But y'all are going to need to be better at getting somebody to assist before you roll, if that's the case. Once the dice has hit the table, the number stays. But yes, Preacher's suggestion is actually taken to heart, and they do start digging up some earthworks where getting up onto land from the river would be a fair bit more difficult than just walking out of the river. If there's nothing else, my squire can follow you to your campsite.
Well, thank you. We will see you around, Sir Roland. I bow and make ready to follow the squire.
Yeah, this squire is actually a young lady, although it takes a little while to actually realize that, as she's dressed and geared just like a man, a young man would be, in the same type of light plate. You can see they're carrying not quite long swords, but not quite one-handed arming swords either. Looks like they can be used either one or two-handed. These with slightly lighter and thinner blades than the ones the full knights use, but obviously still very lethal. Riding towards your camp, you can identify at least 3 different orders of knights available. You have a very small contingent, not many more than your own band of men and women in heavy infantry plates, mostly wielding hammers or flails with a brass ox embossed on their chests or shoulder guards, that you're informed are the order of the Brazen Ox. Then there's a much smaller or a much larger company. Hard to say, but maybe roughly 30 in just the cuirasses and leather and chain of light cavalry with lances and short bows. The valorous Order of the Comet, as far as you're told. And these 2 orders very obviously give space and a lot of respect to the 9 people from the Order of the Cavaliers in Nosans, riding along in blue and silver heavy plate armors on probably the biggest war horses you've ever seen, also clad in full plate armor, with some wicked-looking lances and they don't really have any one-handed weapon that's uniform. They all just carry whatever they feel like. You can see axes, sabers, one humble-looking wooden club. As you come up to your campsite on the river delta, you see that the river is actually it's not a small river. It's 45 foot across over to the other side, where you can see 2 other companies set up. But there are two buildings available for the use of your company. A small fisherman's hut with a boat next to it, and what looks like a what's been a fisherman's house, slightly dilapidated, but seems like it's gotten itself a makeover from whatever engineers the Marquis brought. It's at least been cleaned out, and you can see the remnants of a wasp's nest that's been taken away.
Well, I've seen worse.
I do not like this position. If anything were to happen to that boat, we'd be cut off from everybody else.
I believe that boat is to go to the other 2 units on the other side of the river, not on our side.
Isn't that where we're going?
You can see on the other side of the river, there's also a couple of buildings, and a small dock. Rowing across the river are 2 people. There are 2 people in a boat, and then two mercenaries rowing it over. They step onto the land. You can see one of them is a fairly lightly built man. The slightly pointed ears of a half elf. The almost hazelnut tone of his skin, indicating he's probably from wood elf stock. Dressed in just woolen clothing, practical woolen clothing, with a rapier and a dagger in his belt and an eye patch that grins at you, and a large, well over 7 foot tall woman with long red hair with streaks of gray in it, in a very finely made chain surcoat. The chain seems wrapped a lot more tightly than on anything you've seen before. She's also got a huge two-handed flamberge, the wavy blade greatsword on her back. And they step off the boat and come up to you with a... Well, she looks like she may not ever have smiled in her life. But the man comes up, bows slightly, and... Hello, I am Walter Quatch. I'm captain of the Guiltless Guerrillas. And this is my colleague, Karin Dreikasauch.
Seeing her demeanor and trying to get a laugh out of her, I'm gonna run up in tiny fox form to her boots, plant myself, and just roll over on my back.
Yeah. You can see her crack a little smile as she goes like, "Oh," and gets down on her knees and rubs Edemir's belly before fishing out a piece of jerky from a belt pouch and giving it to him.
I slide off to horseback and greets Walter with a short bow. I am Captain Marisol Barlow of the Night Thorns.
Imagine Marisol, your reputation precedes you, he says before he gets a very scathing look from the other captain, like, Entschuldigung, I of course meant Captain Marisol. Is this your entire company?
No, we still have a scout and a hedge knight riding along, and with them a band of scouting orcs.
Oh, orcs, I've worked with them before. They are strong fighters if you can keep order in the ranks.
We're more of a specialist crew.
So we've been told. We are, of course, that was indicated once we heard that your band will be the one that gets paid the most out of us. Even though both of our bands are larger than yours. Captain Dreikasauch here has 21 men and women under her. I have 18. So with you, it seems like there'll be almost 50 of us. Small band, but given the right sort of mission, could have a big effect, yes.
Well, let's hope so. I'm looking forward to cooperating with you.
We likewise, we look forward to cooperating with you as well. We will be encamped on the other side of the river. I understand your camp will be here. I would recommend we keep a boat at each side of the river in case we need to coordinate in any way.
Absolutely. We should also drag a rope across in case we just need to get over quickly without taking the boats.
Well, yes. We'll see if we can scrounge up some rope.
We have some.
Well, in that case, we can take part of it with us once we go over back to our side.
I pull it out of my sleeve just because I can.
I can see then why you are. Why you are called a specialist company. Have some tricks up your sleeve.
Indeed, I have.
And you can see Karin starting. She's standing looking at That preacher, looking him up and down. Some very unusual fighters with you.
They can all hold their own.
I would not doubt it. We have worked for Sir Roland before. I know that he's a capable knight, not as stuck up and concerned with politics of and intrigues of the nobles as many others. As long as you do your job and watch our flanks, we'll make certain to do our job and watch yours.
I appreciate it.
Well, the sun is getting high. So it's time for us to roll over and organize the main meal of the day and get the camp set up. I assume you want to do the same, but
Absolutely.
should there be any unpleasantness, don't be afraid to call for help. He gives Marisol a wicked smile with his one remaining eye and a wink. Like, it can get cold in the evenings, for example.
She smiles back. Don't forget your end of the rope.
Oh, yes, of course. I would be remiss to not take advantage of any chance I can get to bind ties with you.
She winks at him and looks after and waves while they are paddling away.
Yeah, I think Mador wants to say something before Ilgiv.
Yes, I would recommend you keep an eye on the riverside too. When last we saw, if this is the same undead band, they departed by water. They don't need to breathe air, so they could come up to the river.
We'll make certain to keep that in mind, sir.
I'll do a quick bow to him and step back.
Yeah, they both bow first to Marisol and then slightly deeper to Mador, since he's obviously a knight of some sort. Yes, Edmir.
Is this the? This is upriver, and is it the only branching path that goes to the fort?
You're thinking further down?
Yeah.
Yeah, the river kind of spreads in a little delta, just further down the river where you are, then gathers back into one river and goes further down. It looks to be both pretty fast and pretty deep.
Darn.
Not too many
Thank you.
fords, although down where the main camp is, you can see there's an old stone bridge built over it.
Just thinking if we could somehow, not dam, but block the passage of anything larger than water going through this point, as I'm conferring with the others. Anybody got any ideas?
I don't think we have the time to do that, since I believe we'll be departing shortly, within a few days, I think is what we were told by Sir Roland.
Could we stretch a fishing net or something just to make sure we at least know if something's coming? And have fresh fish tomorrow if they don't.
We could try, but I don't think we have fishing net in our supplies.
Isn't it an old fishing hut? Perhaps there's something in there.
We'll have a look.
Don't any of you, or do any of you actually have a fishing net?
No, we're
I
checking
have.
the fishing cabin.
Okay, give us a perception roll.
Help me look.
Yep.
Well, you do find 2 old fishing nets that could probably be cobbled together to fill the river with some sort of weight system on them to ensure they go down. However, none of you are really. Most of you have spent your lives training to do different things than fishing. So, do any of you have the fisherman background, or
Would farming cover it?
Most of that happens on land.
I
So,
mean, you can farm fish.
farming would not cover. If you needed to set up a barrier of beetroot for farming, would be great.
The closest I get to is law engineering.
Not really gonna cut it. So in that case, I'm gonna need a flat DC 10 intelligence check from one of you to try to get it set up.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, well, not only does Iodi figure out how these things do work, he figures out how they should work to be more effective. And within an hour, you have a finely meshed but still very strong net stretched across the river up where you see that little stone in the river there to block the passage of anything larger than the small fish that Edamir has told Iodi need to not be caught in the net to make the next generation of fish.
I like fish.
Fish is awesome.
Yodi will catch all of the fish in the river.
Of course you will.
It's not really for the fish, but sure.
I also want fish for breakfast.
Yeah, Iodi has managed to actually secure the net to the bottom with a series of very hastily homemade under baskets that he weaved underwater. They'll probably be able to catch you some shellfish as well.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Fish are one of my favorite vegetables.
I know, right? I hand Yodi a new gold coin for the horde.
And you can hear one of the farmers in the distance going like, "No, I've no idea what you're talking about, sir. I've never heard of any artichoke monster. But if I see one, I will make certain to let you know." And on that note, we've been going for over 2 hours, so we're going to take 10 so that people can get coffee, do a little bio, snack up, do that sort of thing, and we'll be back roughly at 7:30 p.m. CET, which would be in 10 minutes or so.
And we're back.
There we are. Welcome back, everyone. So the others have gone over to their side of the camp. You can see that they're started setting up tents in addition to having some people in the houses. A lot are just in tents around campfires or simply in bedrolls around the campfires. It's not really a temperature right now where you need a fire for anything except heating water and making food. But being close to the river, you get a nice cooling little breeze over the river, making it much more bearable in the temperature. So, what are y'all's plans while making camp?
I'm gonna walk over to Sarah to talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, you got a moment?
Oh, I usually have a moment.
Brilliant. I was wondering if I could make you the official handler of our negotiations and stuff, because you're much better at that than I am.
Sure, but don't get mad at me if I turn things down because, they're not paying enough.
Fair enough. That's why I ask you, so that we can make sure that we're all happy.
That'll work then. Just try to give me the flag when the hero juice is running thick, so I can ignore you.
I think you'll find out soon enough. And I have written this letter for you to remind me if my hero juices are way too flowing.
Saving the world's fine and all, but if we don't have the equipment to do it, we're just aiming ourselves to our inevitable and glorious death, as it were. I'm not about that life.
No, I would prefer not to be as well. So, here. It's a tiny scroll where it just says that you are the official negotiator for the Nighthorns and are allowed to refuse if the payment is too bad.
Oh, poor Magnus is going to be devastated.
Well, poor Magnus isn't here, as you know.
I'll make sure he already has some vials ready. I hear champion tiers are powerful regents.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Right. So the two of you are having a chat. What is Eodi doing?
I'm scouting around for shadowy, flaming figures of death for Marisol.
Ah. So that would place you probably trying to be stealthy up on that hill.
That seems like me, yep.
Right. How about Mr. Preacher?
Well, first off, stockpiling some stuff up against the cliff face because that seems to be the safest place away from the water and out of the way. Yeah, I was more thinking down there, actually, between the hut and
Gotcha.
such. After that, I intend to have a look at the river depth to make sure that how deep it is, in case anything big decides to walk up in it.
How deep is your river? Okay. Give us an engineering roll. It could probably be done very easily, but you'll do it in the way of an engineer instead. Yeah, river at its deepest here is probably about 30 feet. Going to 15 feet at the shallowest.
Interesting. How tall is the rock we're standing next to?
I'm gonna say about 10 feet.
Okay. How tall is the fishing hut?
Not very tall. Maybe 8 feet. They're built just so that a normal person can stand up with it in it wearing a hat, but not any taller.
All right. I was wondering if we should actually try and have some kind of signal fire on top of the hill or something for the nighttime, but we'll add a signal fire next to the fishing shed so we can light the warning to the other side beacon, basically. And that's it.
Okay, so you're setting up a. Okay, well that's interesting. Okay, well. So you'd be up setting up a fire basically.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Yep. Mador.
I'll be walking the perimeter, checking for possible lanes of attack, lanes of escape, in case we have to do a strategic withdrawal at fastest, safest way. Just, again, scouting the area around.
Right. So Mador probably up this way currently. And as you're out scouting the area, Herko actually comes up to you. Champion Mador.
Yes.
I heard you fought with the dwarves.
Yes, I did.
Would you tell me what tactics did did you use? Like, did you fight? I assume you fight some of my kind, maybe trolls. Were you overground?
No, we were actually fighting a lot of undeads.
Oh.
There was Vampire Lord, there was Lich mages, there were zombie skeletons, zombie cats, and not big cats, little cats, I guess. There were a lot of undead up in the Rakathum. We were finding, as with most dwarf, with stubbornness, like a stout shield wall type thing. I was using my polearm behind their shield wall, like Kalas or myself used to do all the time.
But Rakkar Tomb is not a big priest's mountain. Enough undead to bother them.
Oh, we had priests on our side too, but again, the undeads were how would you say, a finely tuned army?
Does not sound like any undead I've ever fought.
Same here.
Usually, tough but dumb. Or fierce, but still dumb. Dumb seems to be common, how do you say, denominator.
But once we take out their leaders or whoever's controlling them, they kind of turn into dumb undeads, and then it's just a matter of just cleaning it up.
See, he brightens at that. And kill their champions. Yes, this is strategy I can understand.
Just don't throw your life up.
Throw life?
Get yourself killed.
In my where we come from, once you become warrior like me and pick up a weapon, and you are already dead. The tribe has a ceremony, mourns you. Gave me a very nice meal. After that, why fear enemy when you're already dead?
That's a good hypothesis, but you're not with your clan right now, and you're with us, and we do value our lives.
Yes. The ways of Flatlanders are still difficult for me to understand, but I shall try to keep your tribe strong and healthy.
I appreciate that. It's always good to have you as behind me too, so I won't have to worry about anything coming up from behind.
Well, I will join you in looking for weaknesses in our defense.
Very well.
Right, while this is going on, what's Edamir doing?
It is extremely hot for a little snow fox, so I'm going to be splashing in the water.
Yeah. It's there are some areas where you can splash in the water without getting caught by the current and then swept over to the neighboring kingdom. Yeah. But yeah, if you tried to go out mid-river as a snow fox here, you'd probably come up in somebody else's barony before you manage to get to shore.
Fast traveling. Nice.
Of course, being you could just turn into a salmon and swim back, but it's a waste of a wild shape. And what's Master Tumult doing?
Which way did we come from to get here? Top of the map or bottom of the map?
You would have come from the southwestern portion of the map. Down the shore to the southwest is where you'd find the main army encampment. To the north of you, but still, there's maybe 100, where you are, there's maybe something like 300 feet between each camp, where it looks like the more elite mercenary companies, the knights and the nobles, have camps a bit far from further from the main army, away from the clamor of unwashed men and women.
I want to check out the top of the hill and see what we have up there.
Yeah. You see Iori standing, stirring his cauldron, and kind of looking like he's actually on guard.
And that's kind of a cliff at the bottom.
Not so much a cliff as a steep hill part. Like you could get up here if you used all four hands without any difficulty, but it'd definitely slow you down a bit. You'd have a nasty tumble if you spilled down it.
In that case, I would like to from about here to here put some, or wait, no, that's from where we came. Never mind. The other side, in between the hut and the drop off, put some sharpened stakes so that nobody can come up that way. And probably put some along the bottom of the hillside to keep people from crawling up it.
Well, you've got the good lore warfare, but you don't really have anything made for sharpening stakes. As far as I'm aware, you're not carrying a mattock and an axe, so you could get one line of stakes either at the bottom of the hillside or at the top of the road there without getting help or getting the correct gear to do the job. But using your falcon for this without breaking it would be difficult.
Yeah, just the line at the bottom then. Keep people from climbing up. And then I will assist Preacher with making the campsite and get some food prepped.
Y'all need to buy yourself some rolls of barbed wire. Make my drawing life easier.
I don't think you want to stick your hand into a bag of holding that's full of barbed wire.
Or Iodi and Ed need to learn summon Hesco barrier.
And then if there's any other forces close by or peasants or whatnot, I will just treat any minor wounds and generally make myself useful.
Now I do need to pull you into a modern setting for a session or two, just so Marisol can learn the spell Avada Kedavra. Yeah, you can see the others have once they see you start actually entrenching. You can see that they've put out gear, and some of them have started walking to kind of mark out where they're going to be putting it up, but none of them have gotten to actually doing it once it starts getting dark and you start getting to food. One question, important question here. Where y'all gonna put the latrine?
"200 feet from the river."
Gotcha. So it's pretty much gotten dark. Doesn't bother Sarah much, of course, seeing in the light, but or in the dark. Most people can see in the light. Seeing in the dark much more difficult. However, as she's heading back from the latrine, there's still a lot of soldiery moving about, but not so many here, especially not after dark. But a woman in plate armor and a dark cloak, standing in the shadows under a tree, looking at Sarah, goes like, "Tsk."
Psst, hey. You paying?
Zara, I'm here to give you an offer.
For what and for how much?
She pulls back the hood of her cloak, and you can see the slightly now glowing blue eyes, just barely making able to make out Calisir's face. She smiles sadly at Zara. Like, look, I know you're not like the rest. You're not fully pumped up on heroics and books of bravery and knightly tales. I'm here to give you a choice, an option to join the mistresses before this war kicks off. We need someone of your talents. As for what I can put on the table for you, well, power, gold, servants, eternal life.
Yeah, but you've made a fatal mistake. You associate with hags.
Hags? No. No, I would never. Hags will have no place in the natural order once the mistresses have taken power.
Zara shakes her head. I'm not going to play that game of, when we eventually have our power, we shall... no, thank you. I'll claim that power for myself.
Before you say no, just listen. Ixtab. She's insane. She would have the undead slaughter the world, feast on its bones. There would be nothing left but ruins and death. And bloodthirsty, insane creatures. And the Death Lord, he is a tyrant. He wants order. He wants to rule everything. And he's insane enough that he thinks that killing everything and making it part of his undead legions will finally end suffering. And the mistresses, they don't want any of these things. They want the undead to be what they're supposed to be. Some of them, legends
Dead.
that you barely hear of. Others, the ones with intelligence, with self-control. Part of society, just like anybody else. Imagine, how good wouldn't it be for a farming family when the elderly uncle or dies of old age, or the young son falls and breaks its neck? They'll still work in the fields. Won't hurt anyone.
How far away is Cal from me?
About 10 feet.
Well, you see, all you're offering is slavery to anyone who will die, which is all of us at some point or another. I won't be chained like that. Zara's going to step up and swing the hammer that is now in her hand.
Okay. Sora steps up, swings it, and with a mighty crack, snaps the tree in two as she swings it through the incorporeal form of Calisir, who just kind of shakes her head and, well, for what it's worth, I hope you and my other friends survive what's coming, so that you can see that the mistress that is many will bring in a time of peace and joy for all, living and dead. But It's highly unlikely. Then she disappears, and you can hear alarms starting to go off over up and down the line. Oh, Sora's going to be coming in from there. As several of you notice, that something is very much caught in your net, and trying to climb up on trying to climb up onto the beach. What in the world? What's happened here? Let's see if we can find a picture to show people here. Oh, there we are. Several of these creatures are slowed pretty severely by having to try to get out of the net that y'all caught him in. Dum 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 dum. Whoop doop dooby doo boo. What do you mean Shago enjoys having the undead in game? Silly. I've given them a due to the net you set up. I've given them a you get a surprise round on the first round, and then they will be taking a 5 initiative penalty for the following rounds. As well, Iodi put up a very good net.
Lighting in this map needs a little help.
That's because you're behind the hill.
See if I can open that hill and see if you can see past it.
Much better.
Yeah, that was a bit weird. Okay. Right. You should have had a good vantage point up on the hill, not a bad one. So, not much to be done about that. Who are you and where are you? Whoop. Whoop, whoop, whoop. In what seems to be what should have been a well-coordinated attack, but it's obviously much less coordinated due to most of the the enemy attacking force getting caught in a net. A white sprints out and almost seems a bit surprised when it doesn't actually catch Marisol in a pincer attack with somebody else coming in to kill her. But it is still going to try to stab her. Boom, boom, boom. That's a hit. 15 piercing damage to Marisol.
Hey!
Suddenly pops up. This white is stupidly fast. Much more agile than most whites you've met. Also seems less shriveled and more actually powerfully built and speedy. Next one is Iodi.
Ooh-wee. Well, Iodi, who has been watching Marisol's back, is going to take a shot at this white. Let's see. I will clap my hands together, and a big circle of all different kind of colors pops up in front of him. And I will cast Chromatic Ray at the white.
Ooh. New spells. What's this button do?
Send out a ray of colored light streaming towards your enemy with magical effect depending on the ray's color. You make a spell attack roll, and if you hit, you roll a d4 to see which beam you cast. There's a whole bunch of different types.
Oakley dokley. Dokley dokley. Go for it, sir. The white has sprinted this turn, so that is a hit.
Okay, that means I need to roll a d8.
Roll a d8. Na, and so on. Okay.
So that would be yellow, electricity. It's 50 electricity damage to the target.
Whew. Yeah. That thing got, he takes a nasty shock from that electricity. Obviously still up. You can hear fighting in the forest where Sara is coming running from as well. And on the other side, you can see, like, it's not just from the river. A lot of these things that seem to have crept up, in addition to hooded and robed people just summoning undead or raising zombies, are attacking the main force as well. So most of the soldiers are caught up in fighting zombies that actually come up in tight ranks with long spears. Right, he is still disentangling himself. That takes us to Mador.
Okay, I guess I'm going to shoot at this one right here.
Which one of them would that be, sir?
It's the top one, closer to me.
The closest one to you, yes. The Korobuzu. Whatever the heck that means. Take your shot, Kemosabe. That's a critical. Poof. Yeah, you catch him in the side of the head, and he's obviously injured, but well, being undead, a little bit of brain damage isn't enough to take him down. Anything living would have gone down like a sack of potatoes from that shot to the side of the head. And that leaves Mador with 2 actions.
Did you get that?
No, I did not get anything.
See, I'm going to call forth my glaive and move 15 feet.
Okay, gotcha. That I got. That leaves you with 1 action, since
And
calling
I'm
forth the
gonna
glaive is a free one. There we are. Gleivzeit. Ooh, he dodges that one. Barely. Being caught in nets would be a bit easier to hit, but still very agile. Looking at these, they actually look like the desecrated and undeadified. I know there's a word for it, but I can't remember it currently. Monks from the Black Abbey, having been forced into something nasty that they probably aren't and shouldn't be. Speaking of, it is Edemir's turn. Ed, give us a perception roll. Reanimated. Thank you, Commander Emily, aka the Lich Queen. Must be fun for you to see somebody actually playing good characters. You see 2 creatures flying in over the water. I'll give you a picture here in a moment. Also, well, very obviously undead. I'll mark them on the map for you. They're coming in low over the water, but your eyesight is too keen for them to be able to get the drop on you.
All right. I am going to sudden bolt the one that's closest to me.
Gotcha. That's going to come very suddenly for him.
It is a 25 reflex save.
He fails. So
27 electrical.
Zappa. He does not seem to enjoy that particularly much. However, I'm going to need a DC 25 will save from you. Ooh.
Darn it.
Because these things are scary as balls. So you are now frightened too by how freaking unnatural these things are coming in.
All right, I'm going to move back to here.
Gotcha.
Roran's gonna move up to the right
Yep.
and attack.
Om nom. Ooh, even having sprinted and being flanked, the white manages to dodge Roran's jaws there.
All right, that'll be my turn.
That'll be your turn, sir. Okay, you're in the net. You're in the net. See one of them sprint up between behind Karen on the other side and stab twice. So that is one hit. And she takes a nasty stab to the back. Shouts out in pain from that. The one you shot. Let's see. Okay, doesn't have. We don't really have.
Weren't they flat-footed on the first attack?
Yeah, the ones in the nets, not the ones that are flying above the water.
My mistake.
That's okay. It's good to ask. You never know when I make a little mistakenly. Yeah, it pulls back its bow, makes an arrow of bone, and fires at Edamir. And I do believe that's a hit. It is. So that is going to be 11 damage. A lot of that you actually take when the arrow hits you. It kind of screams inside of your head. And I'm going to need a DC 26 will save from you.
All right.
Oh boy. And that is a critical failure. So Edamir is currently paralyzed until he is no longer frightened. Then it's going to take another shot at him. That's a miss. You're in a net. That takes us to Zara.
Am I actually here on the side of the map, or do I need
Yep.
to spend actions for that?
You did just come kind of screeching in as things started to get unpleasant.
I will move here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to swing at that white.
You get that white. You get it good. That's a miss. It manages to dodge. That is all.
Yeah. So I will take a 5-foot step back.
Okay.
And then I'll fire my hand cannon twice.
Very well then. That is 1 hit and 1 miss. Yeah, hand cannon smacks into that thing and shaves off a square-sized hole through its shoulder, going over Roran's back. And Roran seems happy about it. He's wagging his tail.
Good.
Right, that takes us to this man. Walther casts a spell, and suddenly there's 5 of him. And then he's going to move back here. No, he's not. He's going to actually move there. And raise his shield. Herko screams loudly enough that they probably hear it at the main fortress, like in the water. And then he's going to charge down, quickly look around to see if Sarah's looking, and then smack that Kurobosu twice with his axe. With the orc neck splitter, to be more correct, which slips from his hand and actually goes into the water. So on his second attack, he's just going to punch it. But he does smack it, and you see some teeth flying out from the Kurobosu that had already been injured by Mador. Karin is going to swing her greatsword. You can see it catch fire as she utters some sort of word at this wight. Dum 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 dum. I was actually planning on letting you players do this, but then I forgot to do it in the break. And that's 2 misses. And this other bro screams. You can see both Karin and Walter kind of affected by the scream, and then it's gonna shoot at him, taking out 2 of his illusions. Preacher.
I don't see anything happening to the south. The water. Those 2 things are not in my vision.
I don't know. Can't. I don't. Only you know what's in your vision.
Yeah, and I accidentally clicked it away. No, I can't see them. Right, so in that case, I'll just start my stance, stoked flame, and leap off the hill and go over to the water side. So action 1, starting the stance, and then moving.
Right.
Second,
Gonna
third.
need a DC 15 athletics for you to vault the stakes that Temmelt's built.
Yeah, okay.
Ooh, yeah, no issue. Just goes flying over them as if they're not even there.
And last action is going to be a flurry of blows on the closest one there. The end.
Bum. Sure, go for it.
So let's see. There and that.
Ooh, that is 1 hit and 1 critical.
1 hit. 1 critical.
Okay. Yeah, that thing takes a proper beating as Peter comes down and just lays into it with his flaming fists.
And I'm done.
Excellent. That takes us to Temmelt.
I am going to take a little 5-foot step right here to get just a little bit closer.
Well.
And hit the wight that attacked Marisol with Disrupt Undead.
Okay then. That's what kind of save is it for Disrupt Undead?
Fortitude, DC 23.
Copy that, sir. Huh. Full effect. Very nice. Does not manage to dodge out of the way as it gets hit in the back with a Disrupt Undead. Wow, that's a lot of damage from such a simple spell. Yeah, that thing is starting to slow down with the amount of ouchies you guys have poured into it, but it's not down yet. And it is its turn. It seems a bit confused that it's fighting alone, and Marisol has kind of disappeared, but it's going to try to tumble past Roran. And that is, I think that's a success. Let me check. Yep. So it just tumbles 5 feet, jumps up onto the roof and off of it again, ignoring or avoiding Jorn's snapping jaws. And it's going to try to stab Marisol twice, which is not nice. That's 1 hit. Was that a critical? No, damn, this lady can defend herself. 2 hits, though. For 13 and 14 piercing damage. And you can see it kind of... Some of its wounds are closing as it's stabbing at you with its whitely dagger. Yodi's turn.
Okay. I will rear back and I will throw out a scorching ray at the white that's chasing Marisol. There, that checks out.
Oh dear. And at that angle, I'm gonna need you to make an attack roll against Marisol's armor class. Marisol also dodges the scorching ray, but there is a hiss of steam from behind her. As she goes like, "Nope, I've seen this movie before," and just dodges down in the same direction as the white, as the scorching ray comes down.
I'll use my last action to move down there.
Gotcha. Alright, and now it's Kurobosu time. They finally start they finally untangle themselves from the net. This one's going to try to acrobatics its way over... nope. That's an attack of opportunity from a door. That's not a critical, but it is a hit. Yeah, smacks it, but good, and it ain't going nowhere. So it tries to jump over Mador, and Mador with the glaive is just like, nope. Smacks it back down on the riverside, so it's just gonna try to kung fu him twice with its fists. That is 1 hit. My lord. And after that, it actually falls backwards and it tangles itself in a net again. But I will need a DC 24 Fortitude save from a door. Oh my. And then I will need another DC 24 Fortitude save from a door. Okay, so being smacked by it, Mador starts feeling really woozy. And he is stupefied. 1. I actually have to look up what that does. I've never used stupefied here before. Might have been a superfly, might have been a dragonfly, but it was a stupefy.
Sounds pretty disturbing.
Status penalty equal to the value on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma based DCs and checks, including will saves, spell attack rolls, spell DCs, and skill checks that use these ability scores.
Right.
Any time you attempt to cast a spell while stupefied, the spell is disrupted unless you pass a flat check with a DC equal to 5 plus stupefied value.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. Speaking of, Mador now feeling pretty drunk. Still his turn, and he doesn't need to be smart to swing that glaive.
He's trapped back in the net again, right?
Yep, so that's a hit. Because he is currently flat-footed from being in that net. And that's so. First one's a hit. Still moving. Roll your damage, sir. Second blow cleaves its head in two, and the stinky creature slides back into the water. Its unlife gone from it.
All right, and final move, I'm going to brace for another attack.
Gotcha. That takes us to this bro. We're just going to... what's this move down there? 55. That's going to be 2 moves. And 1 attack on Karin. Not born quite yesterday. She does manage to slip out of that attack. Eramir, you do have a DC 26 will save now to break the paralyzation. You guys' saves are just, yeah. They're doing what we expect them to. Doing their level best to kill you. But you at least rolled 20s for like finding camping spots and doing macrame and that sort of thing earlier in the session, so you got that going for you. You do still have Orin's actions.
Yep, Burn will move and attack.
Gotcha. Yeah, nope. It is just that sort of day for Orin, isn't it? This Kurubosu here, the second one, it is going to try to acrobatics its way past Herko. Which it does. So it lands back here. And then it is going to move down. Managing to stay out of Preacher's squares. Move there. And then it's going to try a stunning flurry against Amarazal. That is actually a miss. But that is a hit, so that's going to be 15 bludgeoning damage to Marisol and 2 DC 24 Fortitude saves and a DC 22 Fortitude save. And the last one.
Fail,
And
fail, fail.
Fail. So Marisol is now stupefied. Which is bad, but she's also stunned, which is way more bad. She's stunned 1.
Lose 1 action.
Yep. So that
Correction. You cannot act while stunned. Slowed is lose 1 action. Stunned is you cannot act.
Yep, so she's stunned for this turn. And number 3 is going to try to acrobatics its way past Preacher. No. That's an attack opportunity from Preacher. If he hits, he'll manage to stop it.
Hello.
Yeah, so the Kurobosu tries to kind of just jump over Preacher, and he just reaches up, grabs it by the ankle, and smacks it down into the ground.
You're not going anywhere.
Nope. And yeah, it's gonna get up, and then it's gonna try a stunning flurry on Preacher. Hiya! And nope, it actually manages to fall backwards and get entangled in a net again. If it's any consolation, I'm rolling more ones than you guys are currently. And this white that's fighting Karen is gonna move there, take an attack of opportunity from her. Gets smacked surprisingly badly with the great sword. And then it's gonna stab. And that's 2 hits for a total of 23 plus. Yeah, she's definitely bleeding profusely and starting to be very injured. And of course, it's your friend in the river who is going to keep pumping arrows into Edamir. So that's a hit. And that's a hit. Hitting Edamir for a total of 33 piercing damage.
33 on 2 hits?
Yes. Not each hit. That would be terrible.
No, I just have to calculate in my weakness.
That's fine. And this one is going to get down there. Oh, takes it to Zara.
Zara is going to make a duplicate of herself right here.
Gotcha.
I'm going to do a exploit vulnerability on the Kurobozu.
Kurobozu, yeah. Oh yeah, definitely the desecrated corpses of the monks you fought. Standard immunities, death effects, disease, paralyzed, poison, unconscious, fast, much faster than regular people. They do have they are carriers of a disease called black apoxia, which, if you're infected and untreated, will kill you in a couple of days. They're also made to kill, and this is one of your ancient ancestors, because these haven't been seen in the world for a couple of centuries at least. Made to kill spellcasters with their Sagebane attacks that stupefy. Oh, and if they're adjacent to a living creature that's paralyzed, slowed, stunned, or unconscious, they can try to steal their breath. Which can do anything from making them mute for up to 1 minute to just killing them. No weaknesses.
Well, then it is weak to my very existence.
Ah, yes.
As I force the world to make it so. And then I'm going to whammo him.
The Waman, the Owen, the critical. Oof. That is very much a critical. Okay. Yeah, that Kurobosu is straight up not having a good time. That was Kurobosu number 3. Yeah, Sara actually just flattens his skull, proving that getting hit hard enough in the head that his brain comes out of his ears is an obvious weakness, as the body falls dead and limp.
So he did?
He dead. The Kurobosu on the other side of the river, seeing that its brethren seem to have things well in hand, does a very stupid thing and manages to entangle itself in the net roughly there. As it tries to jump over. Marisol is stupefied and stunned, but at least...
I have 2 actions still.
Yeah, you're stunned 1.
Exactly. So I have 2 actions.
If I understood the rule Quinn explained to me, yes.
It's very wordy, so if it has a duration, you don't get to act. If it has a value, you just lose that many actions.
Yeah, it's got a value, so that's losing one action then.
I will take a step back.
Yep, head still kind of ringing from being hit by that Gurgozu and feeling a bit drunk.
Yeah. But I still have my hand cannon and will aim it at that thing's head again.
Go for it. That is a hit.
For 17.
It is severely shot up, but it's still hanging together by its different sinews. But it's definitely being slowed down. Walford, first of all, is he pulls a wand, or a wand it appears in his hand, and he casts a heal onto Karin. Oh wow, for pretty much full effect. And then any spellcaster who can see him can see that he casts haste on her. Herko is cursing his little heart out. Oh, excuse me, incoming.
Proceed.
Damn pollen. So he pulls a dagger and then moves down. Actually, he just moves here and then he sprints and tries to shoulder tackle that white. And there is a mighty crash as both he and the white go through the fisherman's hut, ending up on the other side. The white does seem to have taken a fair bit of damage from being used as a battering ram as well. And that takes us to Karin. She is still going to try to smack this white with her sword. That's a miss. She's a good fighter, but she just can't keep up with the speed of that white. No, this other creature now, seeing that its compatriots are in a bit of a spot, is going to fly up here. Meaning that I'll need a DC 26. Is it 26? DC 25 will save from Mador, Preacher, Zara, Marisol, pretty much anybody who can see it. I think that would
What
be
save?
EOD and Tumult as well. You've already rolled for it, the same attack.
Roran.
Thorin, 25 will. So, Preacher doesn't care. Marisol is frightened 1. Mador doesn't care because he's a fighter. Sarah don't care. Yeah, so actually, the only one that gets frightened 1 is Marisol, who's getting an impressive amount of status effects on her. Somebody needs to cast Panacea. And takes us to Preacher.
The enemy I'm fighting, is he able to actually do anything offensively if I move away?
You don't know.
Well, in that case, I'll wail on him until he actually is dead. And so we're going for a full one. Floorbros.
2 hits. Actually, he got himself back into that net, so that's a hit and a crit.
I'll add 1 to. I'll also grab hold of him with the last one.
Okay.
Isignath's just holding on to him, so he takes 2 more from my inner fire as well for the damage. So we'll roll damage. Let's see what happens. So first one, and then the crit.
That's 43 plus 1. That'll be 47 total. Okay, and you have grabbed him?
Yep. Which
Last
doesn't
time.
actually mean anything unless he tries to escape. In that case, I will have an attack opportunity on him.
Yeah, I mean, you still have 2 actions as far as I'm aware, so what are you planning on doing?
I'll beat his ass.
Oh.
So we'll go for a fist blow and another fist blow.
One miss, 1 hits.
Mm-hmm.
11. Okay. Yeah, he's starting to struggle, but he's still alive, still tough. It is Tumult's turn.
The floaty guy above the river that's furthest south, leave my fuzzy friend alone. And I cast Searing Light on it.
Okay, Searing Light. Yeah, Searing Light can reach 85. So that is perfectly fine. That's a miss, though. It flies away and dodges.
Dodgy little bastard.
Yep. And I believe you still have 1 more action after casting Searing Light.
I am going to... If I get control back... Going down to the bottom of the... There.
Okay, you want to take the shortcut over that ravine? I'm going to need a DC 10 athletics checks. Athletics checks, yes. Athletics check. Easy enough. Very well, that takes us back to the guy that has been trying to stab Marisol, and now finding himself in very close combat with a very large, very angry orc that he stabs with 1 critical, and that seems to be it. He does stab Herko for a fair amount of damage. However, that takes us to Iodi.
Yes. I would like to move to there.
Very well, sir.
And I will throw a lightning bolt at the white that's floating in the air shooting at Edamir.
Gotcha. That's a reflex save, isn't it?
DC 25 reflex.
Boom. That is a critical hit for you. So roll double your damage. Yeah, he eats it straight to the face. Takes a ton of damage. There's a very nice lighting effect as the lightning hits him. You can see the skeleton inside, and also see the silhouettes of skeletons and other nasty things out in the forest. They seem to be losing pretty badly to the army you're with, but they've caused a hell of a lot of confusion. So your reinforcements are probably still a while away. Speaking of reinforcements, it is Mador's turn.
Okay, I'm gonna get within reach of the one that Preacher is fighting, which I believe I can 5 feet of that, I think, with my glaive. 10 feet.
Yep, if you move down there, you can attack from there. Yep. Yeah, he's in the net and grabbed, so that's it, sir. Smack him. Still alive, but definitely not as lively as he was when he came out of the water to attack. Oof.
There's a fumble.
Yep, slashing the net over. There's gonna be no fish for y'all tomorrow. That takes care of the stupefied. That's over. This thing is smacking at Walther. Miss. Wow. Flurry. Well, the Kurobosu behind the Captain Quatch just manages to fumble every single attack it made on him. Eramir, it's your turn, and you're no longer paralyzed.
Yay. I will run to there. Slap myself with a heal.
Skitter. Okay. Yeah. Well, that takes care of most of your damage.
Roaring will move over to here, then over to here,
Gotcha.
and attack.
On to the numb, baby. $22, flanked, and grappled. That's a hit. Yeah, it takes a bite out of it. It's definitely not as spy as it originally was, but it's getting there.
And that'll be my turn.
Yeah. The Kurobosu that was fighting Preacher, let me just see. It manages to slip the net easily, swimming up like a champion. And it's again going to try to acrobatics over him.
Hang on. Stop. Is that
Okay.
the one I was holding on to?
Oh, yeah, you're holding on to it. That's right. In that case, it just manages to break the grasp.
In that case, I will attack him.
Oh. So you do get an attack of opportunity when he uses acrobatics to slip.
Clinch. That's a clinch strike. That's a wrestling feat. If he tries to escape, I will get an attack of opportunity on him.
Copy that, sir.
So it's even before he attempts to move over me. So here comes the attack.
That's a critical.
And here comes the damage.
Yeah, the Kurobosu tries to slip Preacher's grasp, and Preacher gives it the Noogie of Doom, and that Kurobosu is dead. That's what happens. The other white here is going ham on Karen, hits, and actually loses an action there. Does manage to stab her again. She's definitely starting to slow down, even though she did get a heal. And of course, yeah, this gentleman is going to shoot at Marisol. That's a critical. So that's 37 damage to Marisol.
I am so down.
Okay. In addition to that, I'm going to need a DC 26 will save.
I will use my Mutters in the intervention reflex, or whatchamacallit.
Martyr's intervention.
Yep.
What's this button do?
It's the one that saves. You shield the creature in dire need with your own life force, taking the harm upon yourself. To save their life, the target is reduced to 1 hit point instead of 0. All remaining damage prevented from harming the target instead is dealt to you.
Oh.
And we both become wounded 1.
Okay, so Eramir takes 36 damage then. Out of the thing. Yeah. And you both become wounded 1. Gotcha. Marisol now has 4 different status effects on her. I think that is a new record in this campaign, or in any campaign.
Actually, I lost stupefied and stunned after last round. And it's my turn again.
Yeah, when it's your turn again, you'll lose them. But currently, you have a lot. I'm also going to need that DC 25 will save from you.
For once.
Marisol don't care. Arrow of Despair. Marisol does not despair. However, the Bicehawk, seeing that she gets saved by a handy spell, is just going to shoot her again. And miss. Okay, that takes us to that roll. Zara. It is you.
Excellent. Saying that things over here are as well as they can be, and I can't really fly. Zara's going to leap into the water.
Oh. Okay then. Zara is an incredible swimmer, though, so the fact that she is wearing...
So I jump 30 feet.
Yeah, in a breastplate, I'm gonna say I need a DC 25 swim check, athletics check from you to be able to swim here and not just sink like a rock. Bloop. So Sarah is now at the bottom of this river. And yeah, you can try to swim up again.
I'm just going to swim forward.
Right. Well, currently you can either walk and climb up, or you can swim. It'll pretty much be the same thing, because it's going to take you 30 to get up onto the shore there.
I rolled a 31.
Shiny. So Zara does manage to get up. Not the maybe not the most gracious way of getting over, but it got her over.
And that was all 3 of my actions.
Yeah, swimming like a salmon. That takes us to Marisol, and she will be reduced now to only 1 status effect out of the 4 she had. So that's nice.
I'm gonna start by downing one of Yodi's special brews.
No.
I will also remind that I used Vital Beacon at the beginning of the day, so...
So they can basically pet the fox for hit points, is what you're saying.
Yes.
So, okay. That's 18 back.
Yes. And you still have 2 actions.
And I will walk over and pet the fox.
Yes.
Scritches.
Okay then. What does she get back from that? Fair amount. Another 27 more.
Wow.
Nice. It is very healthy to pet the fox. If you'd rubbed his belly, you would have gotten extra hit points.
Thank you.
There we are. Takes us to Alfred, who he's looking at Zara kind of desperately, like, thank you. And Coronas, you're coming. This is not looking good. No, he's going to try to disengage. Actually, I think that's just an automatic one. Pull his ass back there. And what can this man actually do? I did set up. He's going to cast Mage Armor on himself. Right, Hercule is having a bit of a discussion with this White. White's got a dagger. He's got a dagger. It's pretty much a question of who can survive getting stabbed the most. He does manage to stab it twice. This White is really starting to get get tired. Karin is going to disengage her ass back to Zara and take up a parrying stance. And of course, this sucker, realizing that things are going downhill, is going to shoot at Zara. That is a hit. Is it a critical? I don't think so. That's a hit for 13 damage and a DC 26 will save. Zara does not care about the arrow of the spear.
And that is upgraded to a critical success.
Yep. Dum 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 dum. Right, so that did, well, it did a bit of damage to Zara, but not much else. It is Preacher's turn.
The Baycock flying over the river. How high up is he?
Just a couple of inches over the river.
You know what? Preacher pulls out one action, a net out of his bag of holding, and then leaps at that thing using the net to actually catch it. I'm gonna go down to the river's bottom and fight this guy.
Okay. Very well. So that's going to be a grapple check.
Yep. This guy is not coming back up. Athletics. Here we go.
And you managed to grapple him. And yeah, both go straight down.
Proceed to beat the crap out of him in that bottom.
Very well. Take your flurry of blows, sir.
I don't need to breathe. He doesn't either.
I'm not going to spend any time looking up fighting underwater currently.
Yeah.
That is one critical and one hit. Man, you are, Preacher lashes onto it and proceeds to start beating the ever-loving shit out of it.
And that was one action, one flurry of blows. Should have one more.
That is correct.
No, sorry. That's actually all I had, because I took out the net. So, passing on.
Right. So both of you are basically flat-footed because neither of you have swim speed. That's what happens underwater.
Correct.
And you get penalty for using bludgeoning or slashing weapons.
Of -2. Well, that would still have been a critical. Tumult.
I am going to move up and seek shelter from the archers next to the fishing hut.
Okay.
And then I'm going to blast the right with Divine Lance.
Go for it, sir. That is a hit.
And he is also undead and evil, so
Yes. Very much both. That is 12 damage. Well, he's smacked a bit. Still up and running, but definitely smacked a bit. That takes us to the right. It is going to keep stabbing Herko. They're basically in a pretty brutal, pretty brutal, very, very short range knife fight currently. Does manage to stab him twice. Herko is also starting to actually look really injured. That takes us to Iodi.
Ah, yes. I would like to move to there.
Very well.
Well, as Herko seems like he's having a rough time now, I am going to cast Ray of Frost at the white that he's fighting.
Gotcha. That is a... See, that thing, it's not a crit, but it's it. Yeah, Iodi freezes the white's head into a solid block of ice, and it then falls off due to the weight no longer being supported by the neck. And the white is gone. And you can see that the flyer over the river, when the white goes, kind of goes poof.
Interesting. I'll give the old tip of the hat to Herko as I'm walking that way.
Yeah, he's on the ground and he's like, "That is twice now, Master Dragon. I owe you 2 years of life." And speaking of years of life, it's Mador's turn.
Do I see this one still trying to get across the river? One's been up here.
The top one, it's it's swimming towards you. Planning on coming to you, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take a shot at him with a crossbow for the time being.
Gotcha. That's a critical. Yeah, already in fairly bad shape. The crossbow bolt through the forehead sends it just sinking down to the bottom.
I see what's going on the other side, huh?
You do.
Oh boy. I'm gonna try and get to the other side.
Okay. How are you planning on doing that?
Jump and hopefully swim.
Very well. That's going to be a DC 25 athletics to swim after the jump. That's the thing about trying to swim in metal armor. Mador now finds himself at the bottom of the river.
Split mail isn't metal.
Ooh. Well,
Splint mail?
Splint mail definitely
There's
has
100%
metal involved. It's heavy no matter what, so he still finds himself at the bottom of the river.
Down at the fair.
Well, he's still at the bottom of the river currently.
I'm gonna try and make my way to the other side.
Right. I'm gonna need a DC 20 athletics then to climb. Oh, by the way, you rolled acrobatics, not athletics. You might want to roll the one you're trained in.
Okay.
I just noticed that. Okay, yeah.
That's better.
Pissed off beyond recognition, Mador gathers all the strength in his legs and shoots out of that river like a salmon, landing on ground, and that's going to be his actions. Right, that takes us to Edamir.
I'm going to try to moonlight ray the white on the other side of the river.
Gotcha.
And I'll miss.
Moonlight, almost. I don't know who you'd actually hit. This thing is going to go for the mage. Yeah. Or the caster. Nobody said it was a mage, but he casts spells, so. And he is now out of illusions. Those actually lasted far longer than I thought they would. Right. The thing that's brawling with the question: do you also count as restrained when you're wrestling something?
If you're in a net, absolutely, and restrained, yes. Part when you're fighting me in particular, yes.
I was wondering, do you also count as it?
I don't know,
No,
Quinn.
I don't think so.
What was that? Sorry.
I don't think I count as restrained underwater. I'm not in a net. I'm not held by anything.
Yeah, you're just underwater. You have to make swim checks to move because it's swift moving water, but
Yeah, and this thing is also it's really not enjoying being in contact with the ground. You can notice that it seems almost desperate to try to get away, and it doesn't really have a whole heck of a lot of options. That's going to be what, acrobatics against your something to break to slip free.
Yeah, including the net, so it's harder DC.
And it cannot actually manage to get loose, but you do get a free attack since it's trying to get loose.
Wonderful. Here comes.
Here comes the sun. That's actually a miss.
Oh.
And this thing is it's gonna go for him as well. Doing the best to deliver on its mission. Let's see. Oh, my bad. Oh shit. Ah, damn. Sneezes. And you can see Captain Quatch is now paralyzed from that flurry of blows. Takes us to Zara.
Zara is going to move here. Make a duplicate of herself here.
Yeet.
And then we're going to swing the hammer.
Doom. Okay, homicide. That's a hit. Oh, yeah, smacks it good, and that's an extra 10 damage, is it?
No, I have to do that for each individual currently. Next
Right.
level, I get to change that.
Okay, gotcha. Well, still 19. It's smacked good. It has been smackinated, some would say.
And that's all 3 of my turns.
That's all 3 returns. It is its turn. It, of course, does not like it when Zara comes to ruin its day when it wants to go assassinate people. So it's going to try to stunning flurry Zara. And manages to hit with a grand total of none of the attacks. That takes us to Marisol.
Okay. In my hand, the iris of the sky shows up from my sleeve. And I go down on one knee to aim as I whisper to the rifle to hit true.
And you're going to shoot what? That guy. Right. In case anybody's wondering why Edamir and Marisol has line of sight to that white, it's because Herko took away that wall when he ran the white through it. So yeah, take your shot.
$32.
That is a hit.
So it will take 31 damage and 4 sustained fire damage.
31 and then 4 sustained fire. Very well. Yeah. It's actually looking like it's now slightly damaged after getting shot at Marisol. Not a monster that's taken a lot of damage. Walter is paralyzed. Herko gets up, quaffs himself one of Eodi's potions. And then he is going to take a running jump himself, seeing that Zara did it earlier, and of course having no intention of being less athletic than Zara, lands in the water. And you have never seen an orc swim that fast in your life. There's actually a wake of water behind him as he, in full plate armor, just crawls, swims his way over, or butterfly swims his way over that river, actually, and gets up on the other side. Preacher! Oh, caught in first, actually. My bad. My bad. She's gonna run down to where she gets a flank and try to smack that thing. Didn't get to be a
I'm currently
mercenary.
standing right there.
Where she is? Oh, I thought you were on the other side.
I'm on both sides.
Oh, well, then in that case, she's going here.
I exist in two places at once until I move.
You are Schrodinger's thaumaturge, is what you are. And she does actually smack that thing twice. Doom, 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 doom. It's not super injured, but it's definitely more injured now. After her flaming greatsword pokes into it twice. It is Preacher's turn.
Yep, I've had enough of this fool, so I'm going to gather some key, light the river on the white-green fire, and smack him.
Gotcha.
So we'll start with the flare of blows.
Right.
Oh, as
Wow.
usual when I do key attacks.
Yeah, your key attacks have a tendency of... Oh, those are 2 misses.
Yep, we'll continue on.
Yep. You do manage to slash the net he was in, so that's another miss.
And the last one. No.
It's generally better for you just to have the key available and never use it, I think. The way your dice actually act the moment you try. Oofta, that's a very Norwegian saying. Tumult. Zaru.
Letting me do anything? Can you reinitialize the map? Because I was locked out for some reason.
Alright.
Moving right to the edge. Me?
Yep. There we are. Skitters up.
And then Searing Light on the other white.
Searing light on the white. Let's keep it tight so it says goodnight. Roll your attacks, sir. That's a hit.
Sweet. And he gets both.
Choo choo.
Fire and good.
White bow goes pop, and so does the bikecock that was having a little wrestling match with Preacher and losing pretty brutally. And the moment they go pop, the 2 Kuroboku left standing fall as if their puppet strings have been cut. You can also actually, let's see who can see in the darkness. Zara, Mador, Preacher, and
Me,
Emil.
I'm wearing my goggles.
Okay, then in that case, you can all see in darkness. Just give me a low warfare for whoever feels like it. Yeah, you can see that in about a 300-foot diameter around you. Every undead that's been fighting falls just limp. Karin goes down to one knee in front of Sarah and is like, "Oh, Thank you. I would never have survived if you didn't come. Mador, yes, you had your finger up.
Yes. Did I notice this when I was in the Rakathu Mountains fighting?
Yes.
Okay, so
It's actually the same.
It's the same exact thing that just happened. Okay. Thank you.
And after she's thanked Sarah, she downs some sort of healing potion and starts breathing a bit easier, while Walter comes almost stumbling over to Zara and kind of puts his hand on her shoulder, like, I see now why they say your company is elite.
Zara looks him straight in the eyes and then just vomits on the floor.
Yeah. He looks at Zara vomiting and goes like, that seems like a proper thing to do right now, and then he does the exact same thing.
Marisol just waits for them to finish and holds out the flask.
On the other side of the river from you.
Nah, I went over as
Oh,
soon as
there
the
you are.
battle was over. Yeah.
Yeah, once the fight is over, that's easy. You have a rope that nobody
And a
decided to
boat.
use during the fight.
Yeah, Zara will take a swig out of the flask and then prestidigitate herself clean and dry.
Right. We are 15 over, so if anybody has any scenes they want to play out before we call it, and now is the time to do it.
I like to mention something to Marisol.
Yes, go for it.
What we just saw with all these undead within the radius, all is the same type that I was fighting up in Rakathun with the dwarves and that other standing army.
Okay, that's good to know.
So I have to assume the whites were the leaders.
Well, then we know how to focus the whites. Or whatever leaders they have. Thank you. That's important to know.
You're welcome.
Then Marisol will hear with Walter if he's okay.
Yeah,
For him, the flask.
He sounds like, oh, I don't know what that was, but the moment it hit me, it was like 5-day drinking binge back in Fredrikstad. Ooh, terrible.
Yeah, it did the same to me.
Herko comes up and claps Sarah on the shoulder. See, that is how you swim river in armor. Maybe the two of us, we start easy, no clothing, and then we work our way up to metal armor and swimming. And he grins and takes a swig off the flask.
You'll have to find somebody else. I don't like water. Too many vegetables.
He gives the water a suspicious look. Well, I must go down and collect my axe. Maybe down here is where I find Heart of Artichoke monster.
Not supposed to throw your axe in the river, Herko. Is it really swimming if you didn't have your weapons?
I had my knife.
I've got 5.
This is why you're a woman after my heart, he says before diving out into the river. And on that note, I think we'll need to close down today's session because I do have a small dog here telling me that she needs to go pee very soon. So that'll give us time for the debrief before we take a much needed walk. So thank you everybody for joining. The episode from last session will be set up to upload today, so it'll be up sometime tomorrow morning. It takes about 6.5 hours in general. And this episode will be up sometime during the week. Not going to try to promise any time slots because I'm terribly disorganized. But for now, stay safe, stay healthy, and be well. And let's go over to Route 66 and say hi.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Bye.